Alrighty, let's do this. First off, thank you for following my journey. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Just to start with my little setup here. On the end, I have the original MAGA hat. This is for 2024. These are all from the Trump campaign. This is the camo one. And then these two on this side are more memorable. This is the dark MAGA hat that originally was worn by Elon Musk. And then this is the gold dark MAGA hat that Trump wore one of the last rallies before the election when he came out to the Undertaker theme song. It was so cool. Behind me, I have a lot of the rally signs from the different rallies I was at. This is my Team Trump staff jacket, which we're going to discuss a little bit. Up here I have, this is one of the official White House flag pins. This is an exact replica of the one that Trump wears. This is the presidential seal cufflinks that I wore to the inaugural ball. To start this all off, I've always been a supporter of Trump. I voted for him in 2016 and 2020, as well as obviously in 2024. When he was running for president, my main goal was that I wanted to go to a Trump rally. And on April 13th, 2024, I went to my first Trump rally, which was in Schnecksville, Pennsylvania. This was an interesting rally to go to because earlier in that morning, Israel was attacked by Iran. Joe Biden was going to speak on it, and Trump had mentioned that it was probably going to be a pre-recorded message. And then the White House put a lid and said that Biden wouldn't be speaking. So Trump was the first one that was actually going to speak on that. But I remember when I went to the rally, it was really cold, really rainy. And I remember standing in line and seeing someone wearing this jacket right here. I thought it was really cool. I never would have realized that by the end of the year and coming into 2025 that I would be a part of all that. After the rally, I was pretty stagnant relating to politics. I didn't really care too much about it. I was obviously a Republican. I knew a little bit about some politics, stuff like that. I was a Trump quote-unquote fan, as you would say. But I really enjoyed the rally, and I wanted to go to the next one. Fast forward, July 13th, 2024. I had the rally playing in the background, and I was doing something on my phone. And all of a sudden, I see notifications all over the place about, Trump assassinated, Trump got shot, everything like that. And I was like, wait, what? And I looked on the screen, and it was not showing. He wasn't speaking. The sign was crooked, everything. I'm like, what happened? So I rewound it and found out that, yes, there was an assassination attempt on Trump's life. It changed. That changed everything for me, to be honest. I had an ad come up that said about volunteering for the Trump campaign, and I immediately put in my info. I said I'd be willing to help whichever way possible. I wanted to do my best to be able to get Donald Trump elected as president. Then when I was at work one day, I received a call on my phone, and this was the funniest thing because it said Donald J. Trump. And obviously the first thing that popped into my head was, yeah, this is a scam. Like, there's no way. Obviously, it's not going to happen. Like, it isn't Trump. There's no way they're calling me, stuff. He's calling me, stuff like that. So I just ignored it, took my phone off, and went on with my day. And then a couple days later, I got it again. So in my head, I'm like, if it's a scammer, it's fine. So it's like, what do I got to lose? I'm going to call that number back. And kind of find out when I called the number back, it was Blake, who works for the Trump campaign. He is a regional field director out of Harrisburg. And he asked if I'd be interested in volunteering for the Trump campaign. And I was on board right away. I got my training, everything like that. And on July 20th, 2024, I officially became a Trump Force 47 captain. Now, as a Trump Force 47 captain, my main job was to follow a list of low propensity voters. These are voters that haven't voted in presidential elections for a while. Maybe they only voted in presidential elections and didn't vote in any of the primaries or anything. Um, or maybe it's voters that registered and just never voted at all. And there might be Republicans, and there's some that may have been Democrats that they've seen vote Republican before, so they wanted to maybe see if they can swap them over. In this town that I live in, I figured there's not a lot of people, so I thought that it would. I'm like, yeah, there ain't going to be that many people, but my list actually had well over 200 people on my original list. So I was like, this is gonna take me a while. So in July, I started. At first, I was just doing Saturdays or Sundays, stuff like that, for like an hour or two. Eventually, once I started knocking doors and getting to know people a little more, hearing people's stories, I was really interested to do this. And they gave us little tiers that we could reach. If you connected with 10 voters, you got a red Trump Force captain shirt, which said Trump Force Captain right here, as well as Make America Great Again on the back. And if you hit 45 for 47, which was like the ultimate goal, you received this Trump Force Captain right here, which is made from, if you didn't know, all Trump campaign merchandise is made through Cali Fame, which is a company in California, I believe it is. Everything, all the Trump Force and the official Trump campaign merch is made in the United States. It's all, they're known for that. And the other thing was, if he won the election, we'd receive a party at the inauguration. If he lost, we'd receive a party at Mar-a-Lago. But when I seen the hat, I was like, I really want this hat, but I felt like it was unreachable because a lot of the doors I was knocking, people weren't answering or stuff like that. So the more I did it, like I said, it was rewarding to see the people and hear their stories and just know why they're voting for Trump. And there was a select few Democrats I got answered the door that weren't interested, but they did talk to me a little bit, so I got to see other people's point of view and stuff like that. On August 17th, 2024, I'd seen that Trump was going to be in Wilkes-Barre. I thought this would be a great opportunity. I wanted to go to more rallies, but this was only on Saturdays. That it seemed like I could go since I worked during the week and stuff like that. I hadn't seen Trump since he announced J.D. Vance as his vice presidential pick. This rally was amazing, so I had a decent spot. It was cool to see Trump again, of course. But yeah, a few weeks after that rally, I hit my 10 for Trump, which I got my red t-shirt. And after working more and more over the next few weekends, I hit my 25 for Trump, which I didn't mention, but if you hit your 25 for Trump, it meant that you got expedited entry to any rallies that were in the area. Then on September 28th, 2024, which was 2 months after I began working as a Trump Force 47 captain, I hit my 45 for 47. And then on September 29th, 2024 is when I went to the PA GOP headquarters in Harrisburg and picked up my hat. Like I said, when I joined, I didn't think this goal would be reachable, but when I reached it, it felt so good. And the best part was a week or so after that, Trump announced that he was doing a rally in Reading, Pennsylvania on a Saturday. And I thought that since this was in September, we're getting close to the election, I'm like, this was probably going to be my last rally I could go to. So I used my my perk as the expedited entry for this. This was the closest I've been at a rally. I wore my Trump Force 47 cap and everything. It was a cool time, and it was extra special because Alina Hava as well as Vivek Ramaswamy were there. I've always been a fan of Vivek, and it was cool to see Alina Hava. And then as soon as this rally was over, within a few hours, they announced that J.D. Vance was going to be having a rally at the airport hangar in Reading, Pennsylvania. So I wasn't planning on going to another rally, as I said, but with this happening, I had only seen J.D. once before, which was with Tucker Carlson. So I took advantage of this and went to the J.D. Vance rally. I wasn't sure if I'd go at first, so I was a little late contacting my rep to see if I'd be able to get expedited entry. But thankfully, I was still in the front row. I was this close to getting a picture with JD. A couple across from me had a baby, and he went right over to them and got pictures and stuff with them. Standing that close to Trump Force 2 was insane. I took a ton of pictures of the plane and stuff. Seeing the plane fly up to the hangar was like such a cool experience. And but as I wrote in my notes and stuff, little did I know this was just the beginning. Then fast forward a few weeks after that, all of a sudden we find out that Elon Musk, the richest man on the planet, is doing a few rallies only in Pennsylvania. So I was there. I was probably around 40 feet away from Elon. It was really cool to see. That's where this Vote Early PA, as well as there's one covered by the jacket here. Those are rally signs from there. It was cool to hear Elon Musk speak. It took about 2 hours just answering any questions anyone had. I thought Elon was incredibly knowledgeable on the things he knew. I was incredibly surprised on what he knew, so I'm actually really looking forward to what he's going to be doing in Doge and what he's already done. After the rally, I'm still grinding as hard as I can as a Trump Force 47 captain, and by this point, I've already reached over 100 voters that I've connected with that I would have never thought was imaginable. And my rep had also mentioned that once you reach 100, you may get invited to do special events. And my main end goal would just be to shake Trump's hand and thank him for all he's done for the United States. The week before the election, I got contacted asking if I wanted to do something I considered a special event, deeper within the campaign. I quickly accepted this because I didn't think that normal people would be able to do it. I can't discuss publicly the main thing I did. That's just how it works with NDAs, working campaigns, stuff like that. They asked if I'd be available to do it Saturday and Sunday before the election. This was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, I believe. So I took both, and thankfully it was the weekend with daylight savings time because I only got about 40 minutes of sleep thanks to daylight savings time. I had to travel an hour and a half home. The first night on Friday from Lancaster, Trump had a rally in Lancaster. He flew into Harrisburg early Sunday morning. And then I had to go back out later Sunday to Lancaster to do stuff there. The coolest part to me was the stuff that happened Sunday because I was involved in seeing a lot of White House officials and I wrote their names down, and a lot of the ones I seen and worked with were ones that he selected for his cabinet. One of the main ones is Susie Wiles. I remember writing her name down, and she was one of the ones I had interacted with, which was so cool. At the end of that weekend, I felt pretty confident. There was just so much joy. There was so much enthusiasm. Everything just seemed like it was going Trump's way. I did feel pretty confident by the end of that. And then to finish up my assistance with the campaign, I did sign up to be a poll watcher at my local precinct. I never done this before, but I was appointed by the state of Pennsylvania through Dave McCormick's campaign, and seeing the inner workings of an election, how it goes if there's issues with stuff not done correctly, with mail-in ballots, stuff like that. It was really cool to be able to see that. After that, the election was over. Donald Trump won the election in glorious fashion. Won all the swing states, won in a landslide victory. I received an email that I was given tickets to the inauguration, a ticket as well as 2 tickets to the presidential ball. Now I had no idea what the presidential ball was, and even my lead wasn't sure if that was our party, but eventually I found out that that was our celebration party. And this was a black tie event. I never wore a tux before. I didn't have a tux. I didn't have a French cuff dress shirt, which is what's required for cufflinks. So I went all out. I had already purchased a suit for the inauguration. So I bought the tux, some cufflinks, the shirt, a bow tie, all that stuff. And I had to drive to DC Wednesday before the inauguration to pick up my tickets. So that's when I seen this beautiful ball ticket that I received. I did a little bit of sightseeing, stuff like that. I was going to go to the Capitol, but unfortunately, with waiting in line for 3.5 hours to get my tickets, I wasn't able to. And then in this time, I found out, it seemed like everything was pretty secretive with the Liberty Ball. We didn't know. I had asked around, and some people told me, the location and time, but we didn't receive any official information on it until like a day or two before, which it's understandable because of security and stuff like that. But yeah, this was an official ball. Trump and Vance were both going to be there. As you know, in prep for these events, a historic announcement was made that the inaugural would now be inside due to temperatures in DC. I've seen pretty up close and pretty directly the way motorcades work. And usually there is one vehicle that has these like sort of antennas. It's like a black box. And that is actually anti-drone technology. And this is nothing I'm leaking. I've seen other videos discuss it on YouTube and stuff. They're still up. And yeah, there's usually one vehicle. Well, if you've seen when Trump flew into DC, his motorcade that took him from DC to Blair House in Washington, which is where special guests and the president stays before the inauguration, which then he goes into the White House. He had now had 3 to 4 vehicles that had those antennas and the anti-drone technology. So especially with the stuff with DJI removing their geofencing for the White House and stuff like that, and the Capitol, all that, I feel like there might have been some threats, but nothing is officially confirmed. That's my opinion with what I thought was going on. With the Liberty Ball, I did invite a few people, but due to the cold and the ceremony for the inaugural being outdoors now, they weren't able to go. I found a Facebook offer or a Facebook page and had put up that anyone who puts the highest offer within a certain time will get the extra ticket. I seen some people were trying to sell it for 10 grand, and I wasn't trying to make like a ton of money. I know I earned this. I worked hard for this pass. But I wanted it to go to someone, and I felt the best way to do it was just take highest offer, whatever someone offers. So eventually I did sell that ticket, which I am incredibly thankful for. It helped cover the cost of the suit, which I actually didn't wear to the inauguration because it was moved inside. My tuxedo, the cufflinks, the shirt, basically everything. On to actual inauguration day. I got up early in the morning, not being able to sleep too much. Adrenaline was running through my veins, and when I put on my tux, I realized that tux pants don't have belt loops, apparently. So eventually I found a Nordstrom rack in DC once I got there and was able to find some suspenders for that. The travel wasn't too bad. There was some snow and ice around here. I made it there, and I went to the Washington Welcome Center, which is right near Ford's Theater, which is where President Abraham Lincoln was assassinated. It was cool to be able to see that area. I know it's a part of history. I was able to give the ticket to the guy that I was selling it to there. I watched the inaugural ceremonies from Capitol Square Pub and Grill, which is a really, really nice restaurant in DC. It's not too expensive. By nice, I meant it looked really fancy. And I give them props. They had really big TVs and everything. We watched it. It was an amazing ceremony. I had a really great burger there. My goal after that was to go to the White House gift shop, which just has a lot of really cool stuff. My goal there was to get a presidential seal jacket, which I got right here. And while walking through the city, there was anti-scale fences everywhere, barriers due to the attacks on New Orleans and Las Vegas. Security was incredibly high. There was a lot of helicopters flying around, a lot of ones that were checking for like irregularities, stuff relating to like dirty bombs and stuff. And it was hard because on Google Maps you can look up walking past, but even Google didn't know what was blocked off because it wasn't just for like driving, even walking, there was barriers everywhere and it was really hard. Yeah, to go to that gift shop, I went, at first they told us we had to go through the Secret Service TSA checkpoint. And when I stood in that line, they told us that the line wasn't the one we were supposed to be standing in. So we walked back, had asked someone else, and they're like, oh, it is that line. So after walking back and forth multiple times, we did go back to the line. But the cool part about that is it's through Hotel Washington, and a lot of celebrities were there. When I was in line, I seen Joe Rogan, Dana White, and Kimberly Guilfoyle, which was really cool. And as I was coming back to the line the one time, I literally like almost got bumped into by Tucker Carlson, where I stopped. I'm like, holy crap, that was Tucker Carlson, which was really cool. And when I actually got to the gift shop, like I said, I found the jacket I did. I bought a bunch of challenge coins for friends and family and stuff like that, to help them enjoy the experience. And now the best part, which it's the best and the worst part of the night kicks off, the Liberty Ball. Um, I go to where the checkpoint says there's literally a gate and there's a bunch of Secret Service people in military and full uniforms. There's military vehicles, and they're like, "Oh, this isn't where you go. Like you got to go around here. Like go 4 or 5 minutes out of the way this way." And we're just like, "Well, the email from Secret Service literally says we need to go here." So we eventually went and found it and went to the area we were supposed to stand in. I was probably within the first 200 or so in line. And I didn't mind walking because I really enjoyed DC and the new scenery and stuff. And one thing is, if you ever do go to DC, do not use the rickshaws. They're guys driving electric bikes with seats on the back, like enclosed seats, and it's around $8 to $9 a minute. Some people weren't sure; they don't tell you that until afterwards. But some people were charged close to $100 for a 10-minute ride, which is crazy. And they literally drive around in circles to make sure that they can charge you more, which is crazy. But anyway, it told us that the doors open at 5:30. I got here a little before 4:30. And they said that around 8,000 tickets were given. And it was a nice single file line. And keep in mind when I say single file line, because that's not going to last long. By this time it was really, really, really cold. The cold was mainly the wind. The wind was horrible. And the line kept getting longer and longer. We were literally watching people coming around the corner and then looking and like gasping at just how far the line goes. The line probably within 2 hours was a good 7-8 blocks down the street. And this line was for the Commander-in-Chief ball as well as the Liberty Ball. The Commander-in-Chief ball was for like active and retired service members. And ours was geared towards supporters, and there was also another one called the Starlight Ball, which was for like $1 million donors. That was at a completely different section, but the Commander-in-Chief Ball and the Liberty Ball were both in the same building. We had noticed that up towards the front, because again, there was like a black gate that Secret Service had where we were standing. Someone off to the left here was forming another line, and a few people were like, well, what are they doing? Like, we've been here for hours, and there's people trying to, like, make another line. And the more that it got colder and it got closer to the time, the line was moving, but the gates weren't actually open. People were just moving and get colder and colder. And as we got closer to the start time, the line slowly turned into a sea of people, and not a single file line. Like, we were literally like this. Like, your arms were down and you could not lift your arms up. Like, that's how crowded it was. I've never heard of this, even at a Trump rally. And thankfully, there was 2 to 3 people who went up towards the front and was telling those people on the left, you can't do this, you can't do this. And these were just people going to the ball. There was no police. There was no Secret Service. There was nobody to tell people what to do and what not to do. So it basically became a free-for-all. Around like 6:45 p.m. or so, the gates opened, and all of a sudden, there was people around me that I hadn't seen all day. A bunch of people came from the back, was squished into the front, and it was to the point where so many people were just pushing towards the front. So it's like when people are doing that, you don't want people to jump in front of you either. So you basically do the same thing. It's horrible to say that if one bad egg does something, everybody follows, but that's literally what it is, because the people who didn't do it were screwed and ended up in the back. And like I said, all of a sudden then Secret Service was there, and they were trying to open the gates, and they said, make a hole. 3 of their agents were on these like little golf carts, and they were literally yelling, make a hole 5 to 6 times. And people didn't want to spread. In my opinion, I'm like, I want to make it to the right because I feel like I can eventually make it up closer. So eventually we made a hole, and like 3 people went, and then again, we were like shoulder to shoulder. And I'm like, I didn't want to get screwed out of a decent spot. And we eventually squeezed, literally, like so close. I've never been this close before for anything. Through these black gates. And then they said, Liberty Ball on the left and Commander-in-Chief Ball on the right. It was so, like I said, the fact that I say it was so crazy. And like I said, Secret Service and the police and TSA, they weren't doing anything to assist this amount of people. People were literally just like this. Like, it was crazy. But we went to a tent, which we thought was security, but it actually wasn't. it was probably just to, the way they had this set up was probably just to like split out the crowd. Getting in was just horrible, and there was no organization whatsoever. Yeah, after we led the first tent, then there was a bunch of barriers and stuff, and it like sandwiched or moved around kind of like a maze, probably to like spread the crowds out and stuff. And then there was like another big white tent that I'm like, okay, this is security. It wasn't. It just had lanes going like this, really long, and then lanes going like this, again, to try to split people out. And then eventually, after we went through that, which keep in mind, the convention center was like 2 to 3 blocks away because we had to walk out of our way to go to the meeting spot. We finally went through Secret Service and TSA. That went pretty quick, even though I had a bunch of stuff in my pockets and they had to go through it. Anyway, finally in the ball, I had 3 coats to check, and the coat check. As soon as I seen the dance floor and seen everything, it just, my mind was blown. It was beautiful. There was lights that kind of looked like stars everywhere. There was tons of stations set up with hors d'oeuvres, as well as different drinks. I had some like dumplings and some meatballs, a brownie, stuff like that. The cool thing was they had a lot of photo stations. If you follow me on Instagram and see my story, they had like a year in the life of Trump where you can get a picture with the mugshot. Then they had the McDonald's drive-thru with a big cardboard cutout of Trump. They had the inaugural ceremony, which when it would have been outside, I got a photo with that one, as well as the last one was in the Oval Office at the Resolute desk. That looks so cool. And then there was a banner at the other end that had like iHeartRadio and Inauguration and stuff. So I'm pretty sure iHeartRadio was a sponsor, which was pretty cool. The ball had a lot of really cool performers. Starting the night was Billy Ray Cyrus. He wasn't even supposed to be there, which that was a surprise in general. But I was excited to see him. His voice seemed like it's been shot. Probably, I don't know if he was involved in drugs or alcohol stuff. It just, something didn't seem right. And then they were having technical difficulties with the music and stuff like that. And it just, he didn't leave the stage right away. It was just really weird all around. It was cool to see him. He did like an a cappella thing of Achy Breaky Heart with the crowd, which is cool. And then next up was Jason Aldean. I was excited to see him beforehand, but after seeing him, this blew me away. And this dude absolutely killed it. He had a lot more hits than I realized. And yeah, that was definitely a memorable performance. Then we had the Marine Band doing a lot of beautiful renditions of patriotic music. A lot of people kept putting their phones up because they were waiting for Hail to the Chief, which is when Trump and them would come out. And eventually, after waiting a good bit, they did do Hail to the Chief and said, "Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the 47th President of the United States of America, Donald J. Trump," accompanied by the First Lady, Melania Trump. And then after that, they had J.D. Vance and his wife come on stage. They were all dancing and stuff. And they had the rest of the Trump family. They had Kai and her father, Don Jr., as well as Eric Trump and his wife, and Laura Trump, as well as some other members of the Trump family. Then like they were dancing to some like classic songs like My Way and Hallelujah and stuff like that. It was really, really, really cool. Trump gave a little bit of a speech and stuff like that, talking about like the golden age of America and everything. It was really beautiful to do this. And then at the end of that, YMCA came out, or the Village People came out to do YMCA. Trump did his little dance, like it was so cool to see and everything. And but yeah, the lead singer of the Village People is the only one who actually is from the original group. The rest of the ones went on other ventures and stuff like that. And after YMCA, Trump had left the stage, and then they came out and did Macho Man, which was really cool. I knew those songs. And then after Trump had left, a lot of people left, where that's completely okay. They just came to see the president. And then Vanessa Horoboyanek came on. She's a worship painter. I've been following her on Instagram for a while. When I see she was performing at the Liberty Ball, I was so excited. It was playing Carrie Job and Cody Carnes' The Blessing in the background. And she was painting, and she painted a beautiful picture of Donald Trump. You've seen it from his back, looking over the cross. It was beautiful. And then, like I said, I was really close, and I'm like, everybody left. And then they announced that Nelly was still coming on, which we had heard was happening. And there wasn't a lot of people there, so I just enjoyed it. I love Nelly. I grew up on a lot of the hits and stuff he had, so it was really cool to see. Nelly was awesome, and eventually that was all over. And as I was leaving, I was still soaking everything in. The metro was closed at 12, so it was around 1 a.m. I booked a VIP lift, used the lift to take me back to the station in Maryland. Took the trip home, got home around 5 a.m. on January 21st. So from beginning to end, from the beginning of this journey, the beginning of 2024 till this past week with the inauguration, celebrating the party with the President of the United States of America. It's still blowing me away, like in my head, knowing that the President of the United States personally invited me to join in the festivities of him celebrating his monumental win. I praise the Lord for the opportunities I was given through this, and it's just, I still feel that I'd be nowhere without my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Like, he's opened so many doors for me, and that's one thing I mentioned to people is like I was knocking on the doors to do stuff like this related to the campaign, which I've never even done in general. So this kind of helps me to do in the future if I have some sort of ministry and I need to knock on the doors of strangers to invite them to church or tell them about the gospel of Jesus Christ. And yeah, I'm truly so rich, not in money, but in experiences, life, family, friends. Yeah, I'm just so thankful, and thank you so much for following me on this journey. And who knows, maybe there's a future for me working with a Republican campaign again. Only time will truly tell. So it's just so cool from the beginning. I had seen this jacket and thought that would be so cool to own one of these jackets. And in the end, when I ended up with it, it's next level. And I'm just going to discuss these pins really quick to end off the video. I got a pin for each part of the campaign. I'm going to retire this jacket as well as the Trump Force hat and never wear them again. They're just history to me now. But the first pin that says America First, I got this at my first Trump rally. That one is Schnecksville I told you about. The next pin is a seal of the the seal of the President of the United States of America. This is actually a White House distributed pin. This was given to Trump's White House staff in his first administration. I got that to symbolize me signing up to work for the campaign. This is a United States Secret Service presidential protection pin. This was actually worn by a Secret Service member who was protecting the president. I got this to symbolize the other work that I did within the campaign that I said I can't really discuss. If you talk to me in person, I can discuss it. I just can't share it on social media. The White House pin, I got this to symbolize the election victory. I bought this from the White House Historical Foundation when I went to pick up my tickets in DC. The next one is, this is the official Capitol Building 60th inauguration pin. This pin, the white you see on there, is actually made from the steps of the Capitol building when they did a renovation in like the 50s, I believe it was. They had kept some of that and they mixed it with some resin to make this, so that's really cool. And then the last piece is a seal, presidential seal, a different variation of it in black and silver. That's what I did with my tux. I had like my black and silver watch, my cufflinks, silver bracelets, stuff like that. Black and silver was my theme. And this is also one that has Donald Trump's signature on the back, as well as this one. It's embossed, telling you that it was a VIP gift with Trump's first administration. So this is what I wore to the ball. And yeah, that's forever up there. I'm just, like I said, I'm so blown away, so thankful for all the experiences. And yeah, thank you guys so much for viewing. And yeah, thank you for all the friends I've gathered along the way, and I'm looking forward to what the Lord has in store for me. So, all right, thank you very much. Talk to you later, guys.